I've been in UPCCA since the very beginning, and like many of you who are longtime residents of the community, we've all heard the question, when are we going to become a city? Or are we ever going to become a city? Or should we become a city? There never was a question about community identity. It was all about when, or if, or why. And as we went through that process over the years, I think a couple of years back, probably 3 years ago, we actually voted. We had the UPCCA membership vote. Do we want to become a city? And we voted not to do that because a city is, let's face it, it's an expensive duplication of what Gwinnett County already provides. And so we would gain things like defined borders, but we would also, it would cost something. This past spring, I think most of you know, the city of Norcross attempted to rezone, or excuse me, annex a fairly large chunk of Peachtree Corners. That was defeated at the legislative level. But it caused us to pause and say one more time, you know, the good folks of Norcross are doing what's in their best interest. Isn't it time we did what was in our best interest? Tom, what is a planning district?
Well, thank you. As we went through this year and the last few years in terms of attempting to look at Peachtree Corners and what Peachtree Corners really is. At this point in time, Peachtree Corners is surrounded by cities. With the formation of Dunwoody as the last stop, we're surrounded by cities on every side. There are 4 different ways of annexing portions of other areas, unincorporated areas, into a city. We've experienced a couple of them already. One of them is the legislative method, where I sign a bill effectively allowing a referendum on it, basically, or I can do it and there's no referendum, it's just done. 2010 is a census year. That census year is going to cause a reapportionment. And so all the congressional districts, the House and Senate districts, the school board districts, and all the commission districts are going to be reapportioned according to the population at that particular point in time. I don't know whether I'm going to wind up with a slice of Norcross or not. And so the question about my ability to, or anybody's ability sitting in this particular chair to affect that outcome would be in question. And that won't come up until 2012. That's suppose, just suppose, that Norcross or somebody else decided that they wanted to move this border up that direction a little bit on 141. It's possible, thinking way out, that the piece of property across from the Forum at one point in time could be the property of some city, with nobody living in this area on any elected position in the area that acquires that. Potential solutions. I list them now. I said, look, suppose we became a city. I mean, we've tried this before. We didn't really have the desire for it. Why? Because it wasn't cost effective. I mean, when you do a city, you've got to do planning and zoning, you've got to do building permit, you have to do the parks, you have to potentially do the police, the fire, or you've got a contract for it. That's what a city faces. That's what a city faces. But the darn thing is, as long as I've lived in Peachtree Corners, our services have been very good. I mean, the fire station, the police substation, I mean, all those things we depend on, I think they've been very good, to tell you the truth. Does anybody disagree with me in here? No, I don't really think so. So the question is, do you want to take on the responsibility financially at that level? I think you said a couple of years ago, you said no. You could form a township. But to form a township, which doesn't have all the implications of fire, police, and so on, you've got to pass legislation through the state legislature, because it is not part of the constitutional capability right now to do that. What do we really need? What do we really need? I mean, is there a way of creating something that we really need? And so, basically, it came down to, we want control of the ability to plan and zone and we want the ability to have some capability to raise some money to take care of the medians and the things that are currently being done on a voluntary basis. That's basically what we did. An annexation would be pretty much precluded. In other words, it's a 100% method of annexation. In other words, you have to have 100% of the homeowners agree to the property owners agree to be annexed in this bill. There is in the bill a legislative annexation also, and that's to be something to be worked on, but that's a negotiating point that we're going to have to work out. The way this would go would be a non-elected board. In other words, there would not be a mayor, there would not be council people, which frankly is going to save you some money from that standpoint. But there'll be a 5-member commission effectively. That'll be the Peachtree Corners Village Planning District Commission. Those members are appointed by the commission, by the Gwinnett County Commission. They have the opportunity to present their zoning perspective and the things that would be zoned in this area down here to the commission. Those proposals will be effective unless there's a 2/3 vote against. Well, it's 80% in the bill, I guess it is, yeah, right. It's 80% in the bill now. That gives you an immense amount of control. Believe me, immense amount of control. It's hard to get that ratio done. So that will take care, basically, of the issue of zoning, I think, very, very well. The question was, how can you depend on the commission? Same one I answered earlier, I think, and that is to appoint the right people that are going to protect the interests of the homeowners down here and the residents down here, right? And I say, I mean, as the gentleman over here asked what the questions were in terms of the possible negatives, that is a potential open switch. If the bill contains a whole bunch of things about conflict of interest, anybody appointed to this board cannot have any financial interest, fiduciary relationships with any other organization who might attempt to build in here or anything like that. So there are a lot of protections in here in terms of hopefully doing the right thing with this. I think the other side of the coin is the cost. The bill provides for up to a 0.5 mil tax to be collected by Gwinnett County and apportioned back to the people, and effectively controlled by Gwinnett County in terms of the money flow. We won't have a treasurer or anything like that effectively. There'll be, Gwinnett County will do that. And that money will be spent to hire people that do zoning, planning, building permits, things like that, and enforcement types of things, right? So, you know, I think you get basically everything that you want all wrapped up in this neat little package. It's $20 per year per $100,000 value of your home. You got to decide whether that's worth the insurance. It costs the people up in Johns Creek on average, $350 additional to their already existing Fulton County tax bill. So, you know, they were willing to bite the bullet on this. This is a much less expensive situation. So you would have a referendum if this bill passed. You would have a referendum in November of 2011, and planning district basically would be in place by 2012. Working on it. So I'm endorsing the effort. I think it's a great thing to work through, and I think the great thing is you guys get to vote in terms of whether or not you want to do this. This will be the #1 thing that we'll be doing this coming session. I thank you for your attentiveness tonight. God bless.
So I want it crystal clear in everybody's mind. It's not about not being Norcross. God bless them, Bucky Johnson, the mayor over there, his city council. They're doing what's in their best interest. And that's where I'm going to end it tonight, is to say that's what we should be doing.